Hey guys, I'm in a bit of a pickle. I got super triggered in my last half hour of work, and I have been laying down trying to process what was going on. But now I realize that I'm really hungry, and I think I've only eaten like 600 calories today, and it is 6 p.m. I have no food in the house. I have to go grocery shopping today. That's like the only thing on my to-do list, but I'm like shaky and weak and emotionally vulnerable, and I need food, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. Well, I know the first step is to put on clothes. It is raining and horrible outside, but I'm gonna go anyway. Don't want to go out there, but I'm going to. And I think that I need to eat food before I go grocery shopping. Like, I'm feeling like all of a sudden, like, I'm starving. I think that I'm going to go to like McDonald's or Taco Bell or something and just get something to eat, then go grocery shopping, then I have to drop off a package, and then I'm gonna come home. And before I even leave, I'm gonna take some Xanax. I went to Burger King and I got myself a Whopper Jr. Look at how small it is, actually. Like, I went to McDonald's first, but their soda machine was broken. There was no soda. They were like, "Do you want coffee?" I was like, "Get the fuck out of here." Oh my god. So I went to Burger King and it's like, I don't know, I was having trouble understanding the guy on the thing. And then he was like, pull forward to the second window. I pull past the first window. There is no second window. So I'm like, oh my god. And now they haven't given me any napkins in my meal, so I'm just all around not having a great day, I guess. Having a solitary meal in my car like an American. My mouth is just so small, I can't even fit a Whopper Jr. in there. Look at how much Diet Coke they gave me. Are you insane? Do you know how many stimulants I'm on? Look at that! It's as big as my head! And just about, that is a tub of Diet Coke. Like, how many like bottles like you buy at the convenience store even fit in here? That's ridiculous. We actually got to leave the house in this vlog today, so that's pretty exciting. So anyway, what got me so triggered at the end of my job is that I looked at the date. This is fun. This is one fun thing about having PTSD is I looked at the day of the year and it sent me into a spiral. Because in 2 days, it is the 7-year anniversary of when I was assaulted in my apartment. Same apartment I live in now. And if you weren't here for that part of the story, I had a male best friend who I was in love with, like totally, like wanted to marry him, wanted to have his children, wanted to grow old and die on the same day and be buried next to each other forever, like that kind of like in love with this guy. And we had this, like, it was one-sided. He felt sexually attracted enough to me to sleep with me a few times, but like not a few times, more than a few times, but you know, was not romantically attracted to me at all. And it just kind of continued on for about 7 years this way, where I was just in love with him, and like it ate away at me every single day of my life, every day and night, all the time. Why doesn't he love me? And as an abused child too, it's like I have this part of me that's like, if I can just be good enough, he will love me then, you know? So just keep trying, and dad's gonna come around, you know, that kind of thing. And yeah, and I had to like watch him like fall in love with other people, and it was horrible, and it was maybe the worst experience of my life, was being in love with this guy for so long, and just letting it kill me every day. And then 7 years or so into our friendship, we're watching Game of Thrones, and we're codependent alcoholics too. That's an important part of the story. We're codependent alcoholics. and we're getting like hammered watching Game of Thrones. It was literally the Red Wedding. Like, and I was so excited that he was gonna see it because I'd seen the series before, and I was like, oh man, you're gonna love this. This is such a great episode, right? And he got blackout drunk and physically assaulted me. He like threw me on the ground. He got on top of me, like put his hands around my neck, and I fought him. I think I broke one of his ribs, and you know, it was a big commotion. Well, I'm sure you can only imagine how hurt I was by that. Not just on, I mean, that was one thing after it happened too. Is like I was so emotionally hurt that that the indignity that it should actually physically hurt as well, that I would be laying in my bed physically hurt and feeling pain on top of like this ultimate heartbreak, you know? Another thing that was so difficult about it is that everybody knew I was in love with this guy. And I was just like humiliated in front of like everybody for years because it's like I had this pathetic love for this man. And like I wasn't moving on. I responded to it in such a weird way. Like if I had had self-esteem, or if I had had the tools to look after myself, I wouldn't have been friends with this guy. I would have gotten away from him because it was too painful. But I was, you know, one thing about, again, being an abused child is you just learn to take your sad feelings and say, that doesn't matter. Let's just keep the peace, you know, let's try and make him like me, not like, hey, how I feel is important and I need to act on that, you know? So yeah, so I was just like, and you know, and I was again just like totally humiliated because like, of course, I told everybody when this happened. This had to be like immediately just ratted to absolutely everyone I knew that this guy had put his fucking hands on me, because you know, I don't care. Like, like if you do that, everybody in your life needs to know about it, because holy fuck. And I should also say that this is, I've forgiven him for what he did to me. Because that was rock bottom for him. He's been sober ever since, as far as I'm aware. And I know I had been, like I said, we were codependent and we had done, you know, every drug you can name together, you know, and in all states of sobriety and non-sobriety, and never had he ever put his hands on me, ever, in 7 years. And I knew right away from the beginning that if he wasn't blackout drunk, like literally sleepwalking drunk, he would have never done that. And so what did he do? He got sober. He's been sober since then. And so I have forgiven him because, and I told him so. This is fucked up. I've never talked about this online, I don't think, but about 1.5 years ago, one of me and his mutual friends from back in the day, when we were like a crew of alcoholics, actually died of liver failure from drinking. She was, I think, 36. She was 35 or 36. And I had already been sober for 2 years at that point. And I went to her funeral and I saw him there, and we caught up a little bit, and I told him that I forgave him for what had happened. And because I really did feel it, and I meant it, you know? So I, like, this isn't like a witch hunt or anything. Like, I'm not saying go after this guy, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm just telling you what I've, you know, genuinely been upset about today. So I'm like thinking about this horrible period of my life where I was in love with him and I wanted to die. I mean, I'll say this now, I probably wouldn't have said it like a couple years ago, but there were times when I wanted to kill myself because this man didn't love me. It was that bad. I just thought, my life is ruined because this is, for me, he's the one. And if he doesn't want me and he's never going to want me, then what is even the point of living? And like, luckily, I don't feel that way anymore. I haven't had him as a presence in my life since, I mean, shortly after he assaulted me. Like, I tried to forgive him then, and I couldn't. I couldn't. And I mean, obviously, I couldn't. And I just knew that. I mean, here's the fucked up thing is that after he beat me up, like, I was still in love with him. And I remember being at a campfire with my sister and my brother-in-law, and I was telling them that, I still love him, and it's crazy. And my brother-in-law was like, no, it's not crazy. And I said, yeah, it is. It's crazy. And I need to get him out of my life. And that was really like, I didn't get sober until 4 years after that, if you can believe it. Like, that should have been the day that I quit drinking. But I was too hurt. And it was so hard because, like, then I lost all of my friends. Like, everybody kept on hanging out with him, but they didn't keep hanging out with me. No one called me a liar or anything like that. Well, one person did, and he's fucking dead to me, but um everybody believed me, and he believed me too. Even though he was blackout, he never questioned my version of events. He knew that I would not make that up. And so did everybody else. Like, it wasn't like that, where he said, I didn't do it. Like, he always admitted that he did it. So it wasn't like people chose sides so much, but it was de facto as if they had chosen sides. Like, we were still cool, but they only ever hung out with him instead of me. So I had like no friends. I'd been assaulted, and I was an alcoholic, and I was like trying to finish school at the same time. But anyway, yeah. So I was just kind of like reliving that nightmare that I was in for almost my entire 20s. And that's what had me so upset before I left. It triggered my PTSD, which is like not the same thing as just like ruminating. I had to lay down. I couldn't finish my expense reports, and it feels good to be able to talk about it. For so long, like, I just would never talk about it online because, like, there's always this part of me that was hoping that he and I would reunite, and we would be friends again, and I didn't want to upset him by talking about it online, but that's just not going to happen. And it's okay for me to talk about this as something that is difficult for me. And that was part of it too, is that, like, when I was in love with him and he didn't love me, it's like I had to hide, or I had to not talk about how I was in love with him, because it just made being friends too fucking awkward. I had to just not mention it. How much pain I was in. It was like I just couldn't mention it because everybody would say, well, stop being friends with him. And like, I couldn't. I loved him too much. I would be near him for anything. And I've learned a lot since then about this concept called limerence, which is a very common adult manifestation of child abuse. where like you're obsessed with someone. And that's what it was, is that I wasn't just in love with him, I was obsessed with him. And you're obsessed with a person, you're in love with them, you want to have their children and blah blah blah, but like the other person either is not available, doesn't feel that way about you, or like in some cases they don't even know you, or they're a celebrity or something like this. It's super common in adult survivors of child abuse. And like, it's good to know that, you know, that it's not literally the universe punishing me by like showing me my soulmate and then like taking it away. Like, I'm just like sick in the head. And it's like, dating is so hard for me. Like in July, I had sex for the first time in 3.5 years. With a guy that I went on a date with, and I haven't gone on a date since then. Before that, I hadn't been on a date in a year. And it's just always been something that, you know, like, I had like emotional problems when I was a teenager and a kid. And I didn't know that I had a neurodevelopmental disorder, and I was being abused by my parents. And then when I was 14, my dad died. And like these really crucial times for like forming, you know, romantic relationships, like learning how to do that, and like feeling confident in yourself, and like having the confidence that someone will want to date you, you know, like I missed those steps in my childhood. And then since then, and this guy that I was in love with, he's not the first one. Like, I was in love with 2 other people before that, 3 other people before that, who also didn't want me. But like, again, this is something that I wouldn't say before, but like, since this guy, I've never fallen in love with anyone else. And like, I don't have feelings for him anymore. Like, I really don't. I don't think. But I don't know, like, my therapist says that, you know, he is not necessarily who he is to me. Or how do I say this? Well, like, I see him in dreams, and when I see him in dreams, I know that he is more so an actual person. He is like a metaphor for me. Sometimes he's a metaphor for my mom. Sometimes he's a stand-in for all men, you know. And my therapist reminded me of that this past week too. But like, he's also a real person who I loved very much and who isn't in my life anymore. And I know it's crazy, but like, I miss him. Isn't that just so sad? Crying in a Burger King parking lot. Like, after our mutual friend died, I tried to reconnect with him. I was like, let's hang out, you know, because I've felt like I've moved on. I want some closure here, you know, like, if we could be friends again, that would be something that would be so great to me. And he initially he was like, yeah, totally, we, you know, and we made plans and stuff. And then the day before, he was like, you know what, I don't think this is a good idea, and he canceled on me. And it's really rough stuff today. I feel like it would be different if I had a boyfriend and was happy in that way. but like I'm not. It's almost like I don't feel like I got closure from this incident, and it's like I have never I've never sewn up this wound that I have about the unrequited love because like I've never loved another person since then. If I had like a good man and some good love, I think it would just be something that could like heal for me. And I mean, it'll heal regardless. I am talking about it. I'm doing my work. I'm going to therapy. I'm taking my medicine, and I'm here for myself. I'm the adult now that I needed when I was a kid, and I'm the older sister now that I needed when I was in my 20s. And sometimes I think about going back and like talking to myself and like telling myself what I should be doing instead of what I did do, which was stick around. Anyway, so I've got to calm down enough to go to get groceries. I don't even think I ate my fries. I didn't. I'm back home and I have groceries. And I bought 2 packs of pumpkin spice black tea because they're seasonal items. Now, I've never tasted this, but I like pumpkin spice. I don't get what the hate is about, honestly. Like, it's a good flavor. You guys are just, you're robbing yourself of flavor opportunities by being a hater. That's it. Yeah, I just edited this video and it was brutal, and that bit at the end about the groceries and the pumpkin spice didn't really fit with the rest of the mood. But I'm home. I'm safe. I have my medicine and my groceries, and I'm gonna it's like 9:30 now, and I'm gonna soothe myself by watching an old James Spader movie. I have like a never-ending boner for James Spader, and I feel like a campy 80s movie with James Spader will fix me right now. It's like if I can't have a real boyfriend, I'm gonna have a fake one, and his name is James Spader. So thank you all for watching. This was definitely a more vulnerable video, but like I feel better for having said it. It's nothing that I should be ashamed about, you know? It's something that happened in my life and it was really difficult, and if I could talk about like being molested and my dad dying when I was 14, I can talk about this as well. I'm not connected to anybody who I knew back then except my sisters, and like they know already, so I'm not really revealing any secrets here, but all right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.